Welcome back to Michigan Sports Media Network. I am here today with my Tigers lead reporter, Brad Thompson, and our Red Wings lead reporter, James Gullett. Today, not too much going on, but as always, we will start with the Tigers. They are currently doing pretty well, so I will hand us off to Brad to give us our update.
All right, thank you, Jace. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Uh, Tigers, good stuff. Great win last night. They came out swinging. Uh, they put up some serious runs on the board. And when you get, when it was, I want to watch it, of course, through the whole game. But when it was 4-0 with Scooble on the mound, I'm like, should I go to bed? But I wanted to stay up and watch it a little bit. You know, the Tigers' offense is pretty damn good. Okay, what it reminds me of is the way they grind out things. And believe it or not, I'm going to give it to a parallel to Michigan football 2 years ago with Blake Corum and those guys. They grind, they grind, they grind. They get the tough yards, the two, the threes. Then they get a chunk yard. Then they get some chunk yardage there. They get a long run for a first down, a couple runs there, and then they just break one. If you know what I mean. I mean, this team, they chug out at bats. They are making these pitchers go deep, deep, deep in counts, and they're just wearing people down. Like I said, it's like a football team in the fourth quarter. They're just wearing these pitchers down to where, they really can't do that much. And I mean with Scooble, that's vintage Scooble right there. All right. I mean, he's pounding the zone. He's starting with he's getting those first pitch fastballs over. Milwaukee didn't want to change their approach or anything. They should have been a little more aggressive. I think you're going to see teams do that all year long, though, with Scooble. But the thing that he really had going with his changeup was just filthy, man. I mean, it was dirtier than a goddamn fucking one-star porn star. All right, just filthy dirty, man. He had a 60% whiff, all right, on his changeup. All right, that doesn't mean that they're striking out. That means they're swinging and missing. That is absolutely spectacular. So, and then I think what we all love, what the city loves, which endears him to this city, is obviously it's his pitching, man. But when that guy gets fired up, and they're calling it yesterday, angry Scooble. Um, Boy, I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy. I'll tell you that right now. I love his intensity. I mean, good God, he is the closest thing that I think, and the guy was a right-hander, to Jack Morris from the 80s with the Tigers, most winningest pitcher of the 80s. Morris had a mean streak. Now, he didn't show it by yelling into the glove. Things were different back then. But he was meaner than a son of a bitch, man. Seriously. I mean, he was meaner than an old man with fucking a case of week-long hemorrhoids. All right, he was, oh boy, nasty. So, overall, it was good. Good weekend. They took another series. Pitching was good. Um, you got right out of there, and Reese Olson did a great job there. He's steady. He's that steady guy. He's steady Eddie. He's going to be 4 or 5 games above 500. He's going to get him anywhere from 12 to 15 wins, which is important. And then what you saw on Saturday is you saw Jackson Jobe. You saw the good Jackson Jobe, and believe me, he's going to be great. But I think what was best for Jobe was he got on the road. He didn't have all that kind of pressure of being at home. Remember last year of the playoffs, everybody gave him a standing ovation when he came in. And you got to remember, for a 20-year-old kid, this is it can be a little overwhelming. I don't care how polished you are. But, his ball was moving like a water bug on Saturday. He had him in and out. Just tremendous stuff. It just gets you excited. If this kid's doing it now at 20 with that kind of stuff, when when he hits, he's going to be great. But when he hits like 25, 26, we're talking one badass pitcher out there. So a concern, and I was doing a little research. Riley Greene, okay. Now he went 0 for 4 on Sunday with 2 Ks. It happens, but I was looking at some numbers. Cody Savernhagen, real good analyst there. He's on X. He has it's almost like a lie detector chart almost, or like a graph of like your financial, especially with terror style, like your financial statements. He will go for 15 games where he's hotter than a firecracker, but then he goes on these like 10 game spans. And he's just brutal, just absolutely brutal. Through 23 and 20 to 25, his OPS is usually in those good streaks above, a 900 and above. But then, I mean, 900 above is amazing. But then he will slip to about 5 to 10 games where he is under 500, and this is just OPS alone. Very very streaky, and that's something the Tigers really can't have. You'd like him to be more consistent. He's just got to be more consistent. I think with I think he's going to be attacked a little more. When he's got Torkelson hitting behind him because they don't want to they don't want to put him on base with Torkelson up. So hopefully he sees his a little more streak of fastballs, but these slumps, they're just absolutely brutal. Where he's already it's in the playoffs last year. I mean, did you guys? I mean, I know you watched it, but did you see him do anything? He didn't do anything. He did not have anything of substance to do. He hit one of those. He's got the peaks and valleys. He was in a valley, and boy, this is supposed to be he is. This is their best player, non-pitcher. This is their best player. And I know Torque is on a hell of a run. God bless him. I love him. But, Riley Greene is proven, okay? He's got to be more consistent. He just does. Let's see. Um, they've taken 4 out of 5 series now with the Twins. Okay, they win tonight in Milwaukee. That's going to be 5 out of 6 series. That's just flat out amazing. If you can think about it now. If you can go 2-1 in series, okay, or 3-1 in series, you're gaining a game a series. Okay, you're getting a game. It's going up and up. Now they're not going to be. They're going to lose their series. They're going to get swept every now and then. But I don't see anything with this ball club right now where you've got really any leaks. Hey, if they can withstand a Riley Greene slump right now, he wasn't in the lineup yesterday. They still put up 9 runs. I think that speaks volumes to what they have. Uh, I first when we talked about the preview, I said, the left side of the Tigers infield scares me because I don't think they're going to get any production, and I couldn't be. I'm glad I was wrong. Um, Javi Baez, he's hitting 286. He's only struck, well, if you include last night now, he's only struck out 9 times. His OPS is at a 696. Last year was a 282 for the whole season, of course. And his WAR is a plus. He's a plus .2 in WAR. When he gets up in the leadoff situation, he doesn't lead off for the team, but when he leads off an inning, he's getting on base either through a walk or he's getting the hits. He's setting tables, and we are acting surprised because he's just been pure dog shit up to this year. I mean, if he's the Javi Baez where we say, here's the $24 million Javi Baez, good God, man. Guys, this is gonna be scary. Trey Sweeney, rookie, basically, he's at a .7 WAR. He's at a 692 OPS, and his defense is outstanding. So all of a sudden, when you've got Javi at third and Sweeney, the left side, you want to throw him McKinstry, 298, 829 OPS, a .6 WAR already. He's played 14 out of 15 games, so this is not a small sample size for him. He's been outstanding. The more and more he plays, the more I think if he plays on a regular basis, I think you might have something here. So who knows? AJ knows best. We know that, and I'm not going to get slappy now with Colt Keith. He went 0 for 3 yesterday with another just brutal strike. He's just lost up there, and like I said, that's why I'm here. And AJ's right now making the lineup card in Milwaukee. But guys, he's hitting a .88. All right, I mean he's got 11 total bases in 13 games played. So it's not like he hasn't had his chances. Now we're approaching the end of April. I don't think I don't think the team or AJ's doing this guy any good now, okay? I mean, I'm honestly feeling some empathy for this guy. Okay? He he is completely lost. I mean, anybody with half a brain with baseball can look at this guy in the plate and he is just completely lost. He's lost all confidence, whether he said it or not. He's lost all confidence. It's just a matter of time. It looks almost like just a dog out there in his last legs when he's going to go out to the backyard and just die. It's like, dude, just put the dog down. Literally, send him down. Keith, that is. Don't kill Keith. Even though I wanted to the last podcast, but it's just not good for anybody. It's not. He's not helping. If he's not helping, just he's too young to be fucking with his head, with all this bullshit that's going on. It's not good. It's not good. Uh, Injuries. All right. Nothing on the injury front, although James is going to scare the shit out of me right before we went on right on air. So, I mean, uh, but in the minor league system now, it's seeped down into the minor league system. All right. We can't stop it. Kevin McGuingle, #2 prospect in the draft, opening day, man, he jammed his ankle bad. He has not been back since. I mean, good God. And then you got Bryce Rainier, third guy in the system, #3 guy in the system. He's walking off the other night. Looked like he had a groin injury. Doesn't look too serious, but I mean, how much are we going to be able to take? And finally, yeah, another guy and I'm not going to go on a tirade, but I'm about ready to. All right. Gas can Maeda, okay? He's just a gas can. You put him out there and he just lights shit up. All right, got a goddamn cruising. 9-0 shutout, right? Hey, all right. See Maeda walk in. I look over to my wife watching the game. I said, watch, he's going to fuck this shutout up. What does he do? Can't hit the ocean from the beach. Throws one right over the middle. Boom. All right, I took my meds today, so I'm not gonna go off on him. I'm not. I doubled up on my meds. But this guy, man, all right, he's not good. All right, and if they want to put him in a mop up role, if you want to mop up the puke off the floor or the disaster, whatever, he's the fucking janitor. All respect to the custodians out there. Just mop the shit up and get the game over with. But no, you gotta go and you gotta fuck a shutout up, okay? Just screwball, fuck you. God damn it! I said I wasn't gonna do this, but hopefully when Alex Cobb gets back, we can launch this guy back to wherever the fuck he came from. Okay, Minnesota, wherever the fuck he came from. Just have Colorado sign him. Colorado doesn't do dick anyways. But Cobb will take, I would think, because Cobb's not going to take anybody's spot in that rotation right now. I don't think they foresaw Casey Mize and Jackson Jobe doing the things that he did. So Cobb can come in for Maeda, be that long relief in case the starter gets touched up that could keep a team in the game so they can come back. That's the role they had Maeda in, and then they just keep getting worse and worse. You're already down, just boom, 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 boom. So we're gonna end with gas can Maeda, and but other than that, man, this again, I'm gonna say it, it's a good baseball team. It's a good baseball team. So back to you guys.
Yeah, and great stuff there, Brad. And if you want to see this good baseball team in person on April 25th, all you have to do is follow us on Twitter at MI Sports Media, subscribe to the YouTube at MI Sports Media Network, and donate $1 or subscribe to our newsletter for at least $1, and you will enter the giveaway. The giveaway will happen next Monday. The game is next Friday, so keep your eyes out, keep your ears open. But with that being said, now I will pass it over to James Gullett for our Red Wings update.
I wanted to open with a hey hey hockey town, but I'm going to talk about the Griffins in a little bit. So I feel like hockey town's kind of shifted over to the west side of the state with the news that we'll cover here in a couple moments. To blanket the statement as plainly as I can, I feel like I would not be doing my job if I didn't at least talk about the Red Wings beating Dallas in what I would deem an almost meaningless game. The only reason I say almost meaningless is because we did beat the Dallas Stars and we did cost ourselves position in the draft lottery. So although it is a lottery, so nothing's guaranteed, we cut our chances of getting a top five pick almost in half. So there is still a chance, but we're right in the middle of no man's land where we don't have a good chance to get a high pick and we don't have a good team either. So that is unfortunately where we are at. But to give Brad a brief moment before I cover this next topic. He may want to pre-turn his head to the side because I am going to give you 3 reasons why these last 2 games should be watched. And it is a hard sell, but I will do my best. 1, can Casper continue his development and his current hot streak of late? Over the last month, he, in my opinion, and many other people's opinion, has been playing as our number 1 center. And even though he has not formally taken over that number 1 center role, he has been outplaying Larkin. He has more points than Larkin. He just passes the eye test and looks better. And I don't know if that is an attaboy for Casper or a what the hell are you doing, Larkin? Where you at? I'm hoping it is the former, but at least it looks like one of the prospects that we've been talking about for a couple of years, if you've been in the Red Wing circle, is panning out. Number 2 reason, can DeBrincat get 40 goals this season? He did score against Dallas last night. He has 37 on the season with only 2 games left. And out of curiosity, I want to open it to you guys real quick. Feel free to chime in. Do you remember or do you know the last Red Wing to score 40 goals in a single season? It's been a while, I'll give you that much. All right. It was the 2008-2009 season.
Johan Franzen.
No, sir. Close, though. It's the guy we should have signed instead of Franzen. That's my friend, Marian Hossa. Marian Hossa, who was only played on the team for 1 damn year, and I was able to thankfully only buy a t-shirt jersey. But Marian Hossa was the last Red Wing forward to score 40 goals in the season. We are approaching the 20-year mark on that, and he only played for Detroit for 1 season. So that's something to hope for. He's got to get 3 in 2 games. He is capable of doing it, but will he? Let's watch and find out. And then the third reason that we should still watch the Wings is for the draft and the potential tankathon that we can attempt to do to at least improve our lottery odds since we're guaranteed not to make the playoffs. These last 2 games, in terms of the lottery, are not useless. If we lose out and the 2 teams below us win, we increase our odds by almost double to get into a top 5 position. As we sit currently, if there was no change, we have a 3.5% chance at the number 2 pick and a 0% chance at the number 1 pick. We are so high up / far back, depending on which way you want to look at the bracket, that we are not even eligible for the number 1 pick right now. If we lose these 2 games and those 2 teams pass us, we go up to a 3.5% chance for that number 1 pick. So that would at least make us eligible to win the lottery. Still a low chance, but we at least have a flyer or a ping pong ball, whatever, however they do that. And then our chances for the number 2 pick could go up from 3.5 to 5. Once again, not a dramatic increase, but 20-30% of that percentage. So they're not completely pointless. They could help shape our future with a little luck, which the Wings have even worse luck than the Pistons when it comes to draft lotteries. But maybe it's that year because we have nothing else to root for in terms of the Wings. And then the only other thing I really wanted to touch on is the big news with the 2 Swedish prospects. The Red Wings have called up, or I shouldn't say called up, called over Axel Sundin Pellikka, our first-round pick, 17th overall in 2003, and Michael Brandsteg Nygaard, our 24 first-round pick, 15th overall, from the Swedish Hockey League over to Grand Rapids. So they are still not up on the main roster. I would not mind seeing what they can do for these 2 games just to see where they're at, but they're at least in the States now. Those are 2 picks that are heavily going to determine how we advance with this year 7, so to speak, of the Yzer plan, which I do unfortunately expect to happen. There is 1 defenseman and 1 forward. If things turn out well, because they have been crushing it over there overseas, they might be the new Shadeur and Raymond and give us another defender and another forward that can take us to that next level. ASP especially is a defenseman, but he is a offensive defenseman. He should run point on the power play. He led all defensemen in his league in goals, regardless of age, and yet he's only, I want to say 18, maybe 19 years old. He's a young guy. The one draft pick that I'm kind of surprised no one else is talking about because I search for him and I can't find stuff on him is Dmitry Buchnikov, our 2022 second round pick. He's a Russian player. He's currently playing in the KHL. And when we first drafted him, a lot of people said he was non committed to the NHL and coming over here. He enjoys playing in the Russian league. Obviously his family's there and all that. And he said he may or may not come over here. And we drafted him anyways. And he's just signed last off season a 2-year contract, so he's got a one more year on his KHL contract. And he was drafted 2 years before Nygaard and 1 year before Pelika, and they're now over in our farm system. So if we can convince him to come over, that would be a huge benefit. But if we cannot, then we just flat wasted a high second round pick on a guy that won't even suit up for us. And with prospects being a premium, that that may be what the entire rebuild hinges on because I can see him being not a 40, but I can see him being a 30 goal scorer year in and year out. He's a very talented player. I just don't know if he'll ever suit up for us. And I have seen conflicting reports, some saying, yeah, of course he will, and others saying, no, he likes it over there. So I don't know the guy, obviously, but if he stays over there, I'll just say we're in trouble. And with that, I will send it back to you guys.
Yeah, really good stuff there, James, as always. Really, the only thing I have to say on the Red Wings right now is just lose, baby. Just fucking lose. You've been doing it all year. Keep the train rolling. Why are we winning games now? Like, what the fuck is going on? I understand it's a lottery, so there's really no, like, tankathon or whatever, but still, get the odds, man. Get what you can. But with that being said, Brad, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, just a few things. Hey James, so when these guys come over, are there tariffs on them too? I just wondering. I mean, what the fuck nowadays? No. This is honestly. I'm gonna be serious here. Seriously, I'm gonna be serious here. First of all, numbers don't lie. So let me say this, and I was wrong, and I will say when I'm wrong. They are currently, I believe, 46 games below 500, and I'm not joking here because I said 51. They're 46. You can do the math if they lose two more or so, but come on, does it really make a difference? That's pathetic. Um, Here come the numbers, and this is nothing great's going to come of it, guys. Lucas Raymond, minus 16. DeBrinket, minus 14. Larkin, minus 16. Kane, minus 14. Sider, minus 9. Casper, minus 1. Tarasenko, minus 16. Rasmussen, minus 13. Sherratt, minus 13. Comfer, minus 8. Edvinson plus 10. All right. It's funny you say that because they've had one. I wrote that down too about the 30 goal score. I didn't really write that down. Guys, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I know you believe me, and fans, look them up because I looked them up, and I had to look at them 2, 3 times. That is pathetic. All right, your best players, Raymond minus 16. Seriously, DeBrinket could score 40, but these are before the game yesterday. He's at a minus 14. Really? Your captain, your leader, who is the worst captain in the last 20 years in Detroit sports, by the way, by far the worst captain. Zero leadership ability. Okay? He's an above average hockey player with zero leadership, yet he's wearing what name doesn't belong like Sesame Street? Iserman, Lidstrom, Zetterberg. Larkin? Yeah, it's like those things you had, James, with the four dragons. All right, he's a pathetic captain. They're a rudderless ship. All right, because McClellan can do all he wants, and he does a great job. But if you don't have somebody in that locker room who's a strong voice and a strong presence, you got nothing, and that's exactly what they have. Dylan Larkin, take the C off your sweater. You're garbage. Okay, you're an above average hockey player, but you are the worst captain in the 2000s. Okay, you're a clown. Uh, Let's see what else. We're at a 3% lottery last time I checked, which is fine. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing, honestly. We're going into the 7-year of Yzerman. We know he's going to be there. Okay. Um, there are no way, shape, or form contenders. I mean, they're the furthest away from being a contender. Understand this, please. There were 7 games outside of the wild card, but there are also 6 games outside of the worst record in the conference. Yikes. Okay. So my point is if, and that's no guarantee, if they make the playoffs, they sneak in, okay, but when is this team really going to contend for a cup? We're looking at 3 years, maybe 4. So let's tack that on to so Eisenman's going to get basically a decade to turn this franchise around. Guys, that's, it's not even worth going off on a rant. It's sad. When apathy sits in with me, that I don't give a fuck. All right, fuck them. Fuck Larkin. Fuck Yzerman. Fuck Illich. Whatever, dude. I mean, 10 years. They didn't even give Matt Millen 10 years. Okay, and and it's
Thank
pathetic.
God.
If yeah, yeah, James, if you hit the nail on the head. If this guy's name was anything but Steve Yzerman, he'd have been broomed out 2 years ago. Okay. And so if you want to sit there and if you want to have the fond memories of when he was a player and you want to keep them, go ahead, have the fond memories. But that's all you're gonna have because you got no president, you got no future. So you just keep going down that road with Eisenman, and let me know how that goes because I'll be, I don't know where I'll be, but it sure is going to be in front of the TV. All right, and even if they gave me free tickets, it's the old saying with Lions is, a guy comes up and puts 2 tickets, under a guy's window to surprise him. The guy comes to his car, and then there's 2 more on his window, so there's 4. Okay, so pretty soon you won't be able to give these tickets away. It'll be the 2-for-1 special. There'll be whatever. I fuck them. Uh, so let's talk about the draft prospects. Okay, you're talking about getting in the top 5. This is the funny thing. They probably will get in the top 5 this year because honestly, there truly is no difference between the top 5 and the middle 5. All right, there is no sweepstakes. There is no, you know, there's no McDavid, sweepstakes. Nobody out there like that. There is nobody out there like that. The guy who's going to be, the prize. I don't even think I wrote it down, but he's a defenseman. He might not even. I mean, he might make the team. It's a defenseman. I forget where he is, but he'll obviously do something in NHL, but we're not talking a slam dunk, can't miss, McDavid, Wemby, Giannis, things like that. Um, so you're looking at where they're picking at. You got Logan Tensler. He's a defenseman out of Wisconsin. He can create the lanes. He pinches in well. And he's above average shooter. I mean, that doesn't really. I mean, does that really get you revved up? Does it really? Um, the other guy, you got Shane Vansky from MSU. Okay, right wing. He's got your size. He's got the physicality, and he's got speed. So I mean, that would be that could get people excited. At least we get him excited for whatever 6 months because he's a Sparty. Um, then a lot of people have this guy pegged for Detroit. Jackson Smith, defenseman with Tri City. All right, he physical. Poor skater, though, needs to develop. So it's a perfect Eiserman pick because he can put him down in the minors and say, oh, we got this guy coming, and in 5 years, maybe he's developed. Because I still don't believe there's going to be a goddamn one up here. I'm sorry, I just don't. It's like the Sesame Street thing, guys, and this is way before your time. Snuffleupagus, okay? Snuffleupagus is always supposed to be there, and nobody sees where the hell he's at except for Big Bird. Okay, way before you guys. But so these prospects to me are Snuffleupagus. All right, I hear about him, but I never see him. Never see him. But hey, we're supposed to have prospects. It's only going into year 7. We're supposed to have prospects. I don't give a fuck. Then you go with Carter Bear, another one that I see a lot of projections. He had an Achilles set him back a little bit, but he was 82 points in 52 games. He was a plus 33. Listen to that, a plus 33 hockey player. He won't be come up here probably be a negative, but a plus 33 hockey player. He's for his size. He's around 5'9", 5'10". He likes to mix it up in there though. He's a gritty kind of player, great instincts, tremendous vision. Nobody's going to toss him around at either end just because of his size. He's hard-nosed, okay? Kind of reminds me of a guy named Dino Cicerelli, except a lot more skill. Okay, that kind of guy. All right, that's the guy I'd like. To be honest with you, if he's there, I'd like to see him throw caution to the wind, because this guy can honestly, if he's healthy, he could be a guy that'd be up in 2 years. Okay, but like I said, knowing Eisenman, he'll take the guy that takes 5 years to develop. But I mean, whatever. Like I said, if you're lucky, this team will be ready in 10 years. If you're lucky, so you want him. I don't have to watch him. Last time I checked, free country. So back to you guys.
Yeah, good stuff as always, Brad. And hold on, Sesame Street was my shit. All right, Snuffleupagus was my boy. Okay, so we ain't quite that young. No, but with that being said, let's talk about something a little bit more positive. The Detroit Pistons. Okay, a team that did make the playoffs, a team that is good, a team that has young players that actually play on the fucking team. Oh my god, it's like rocket science out here. I will say that's the one thing I really don't like about hockey and even soccer in some ways. You got baseball is the same way. You gotta wait fucking years and years and years sometimes to get these players, man. And it's like in the NFL, bro, if you suck ass, you go get your first overall pick, you get a good player, and you're good to go. Whereas these others, it's a lot harder to build a team if you can't get free agents and you can't win trades. So, luckily we do have one team right now. Well, the Tigers are doing pretty good too, but it's early, so we'll temper expectations. But luckily we have one team in Detroit right now that is kicking ass, for lack of a better term. As we said before, I went to the game last week. LCA was lit. It was rocking. This Saturday, they take on the New York Knicks in New York. As we all knew, we knew this is what was going to happen. But last time we saw you, we went over some stats, right? And it made the Pistons sound like they had a pretty good shot. The stats are updated, and that shot don't look too good anymore, guys. I'm just going to be honest. I was already kind of pessimistic, but before, the Pistons were 4th in rebounds. Now they're 13th. And I personally felt like that was the big difference maker between these two teams, was the Pistons' obviously defensive ability and ability to get rebounds, even though they were technically smaller than a lot of the teams that they play. However, right now, the Pistons are 11th in points, 13th in the rebounds, 14th in assists, 20th in assist to turnover ratio, 21st in turnover percentage, 12th in net rating with a 1.9, 14th in offensive rating with a 114.6, and 10th in defensive rating with 112.5. Now, the Knicks are not really that much different. It's not a huge discrepancy. They are 9th in points, 24th in rebounds, 4th in field goal percentage, 11th in assists, 6th in assist to turnover ratio, 7th in turnover percentage, 8th in net rating with a 4.2, 13th in defensive rating at 114.3, and 5th in offensive rating, 118.5. Now, they sound very similar, right? Almost the same. The things that stick out to me, though, are the rebounding difference. The Pistons still have a pretty big advantage on the rebounding. However, The turnover ratio, the assist to turnover ratio, and the net rating are really the three things that worry me about this Knicks team on paper, stats wise. Um, Obviously, we already talked about some of the things that will worry me, but we'll get into that a little bit more in a second. But they are sixth in assist to turnover ratio and seventh in turnover percentage, eighth in net rating. Right, the Knicks. The Pistons, however, are 20th in assist to turnover ratio, 21st in turnover percentage, and 12th in net rating. So to me, that screams, right? The Pistons are kind of what we thought they were. They're a good, scrappy, hard nosed team that realistically has a lot of issues. And I know everybody in Detroit right now is riding the Pistons. They love the Pistons. They love Detroit basketball, and I do too. It was a great time at the game. We went to 2 games in the last couple weeks, actually. It was a great time, both games. But I think we need to be realistic, and I think we need to understand going into this game that Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Michael Bridges are gonna pose some issues, and I don't see the Pistons winning more than 1 to 2 games, and that's probably at best. Now, realistically, they could still win the series though, because it would take a lot. But if we can keep Cat under, I would say under 25 points, under 10 rebounds, we got a chance. As long as someone else, not named Cade Cunningham, can average over 20 a game. If those two things happen, we have a real shot. If not, we could be in a shit river without a paddle, unfortunately. And with that being said, I will pass over to you, Brad, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, no, that's some great number crunching right there. Seriously, that's awesome. Um, and it's valid. There's no doubt about it. So I don't want you to think that. But the highest number that I see up there, and the highest number that means the most to me, is the number 6, as in the 6th seed. They had to they had to work to do it. All right. I mean, if you want to count 10, 12, I mean, then they would honestly be down in that range a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say. But they're the 6th seed, and they got there through the 6th seed through their grit, through their bad boy 2.0, uh, through a lot of things. The 50-50 balls, they're winning that now. Okay, they weren't winning that before. I think what has to happen, one big thing is Cade has to be Cade. Cade has to be the best player on the floor every night. He can't just be the best player on the floor, 2 out of 3 every night. If they want to have a shot at winning, he's got to be the best player on the floor. Also, you need Malik Beasley to be hot. He can be Malik Beasley, or he cannot, all right, have a cold shooting night. Because if he goes cold one night, it's a wrap. Okay, it's just a wrap. You're gonna get your points from Duran on the putbacks and things, but it's gonna be a little difficult for him too when you got you got Cat down there, pushing him around a little bit. So that's gonna be tough. Um, Sir's got to, Thompson, he's got to flat out be the slasher that he's been all year long. He can be the guy. He can be the X factor here. And what would he bring the X factor here is he's got to play defense, and he's a very good defender. I don't want to be throwing. All right, he's a very, very good defender. Okay, and if he can lock a guy down here or there, and he can get his steal, and he can get a guy to pull up and take a shot instead of drive. All right, that would be great. Ron Holland, he might have to get some minutes here. He might have to be the streaky guy. He might have to be that little Jameer Gibbs water bug. He's got a knack for being able to get to the lane. He's good in the open. Seriously, he's good in the open court. So again, he's got to be on. Hardaway Jr., he's got to be hitting his threes. Okay, but so what you've heard me say here is gotta, 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 gotta. That's a lot of gottas, okay? A lot of gottas, and they're not going to happen every night. That's the thing. But it also goes for the Knicks, too. I mean, Brunson can have his nights. He really can. I do see them. I do see them throwing a lot of bodies on Cat, seeing which one sticks. It might be if it's working one night, they're going to go with that. If they got to switch it up one night, they go with that. So I don't think you're going to see one guy on him, at all cost. Uh, but there's got to be. I mean, these guys have got to step up. They got to go a little deeper into their bench. Um, I am not a big fan. Let's just play the if game. If Ivy comes back, I don't like that, to be honest with you, because you throw them in a mix. Well, guess what? It's like throwing a new quart of oil in an engine that's used to something else. You could get some hiccups going there. You could get some knocks in the engine. I don't want him to impede the process. I wouldn't mind if he came off the bench and tried to heat up for an extra, give him a spark, but I would not have him play more than 3 minutes a half. Unless something clicks. Who's to say it doesn't click? Who am I? But if it doesn't click, then but see what can happen. Hell, throw everything but the kitchen sink at these guys. Remember we talked last time. You're playing with house money. So throw something at them, see if it sticks, guys. But I, I think in the end it's gonna go 7, and I think the Knicks win. Don't forget though, the Knicks got upset in the first round last year, so they have not been. Stephen A. Smith he calls them their Knicks, and they are his Knicks, and rightly so they are. But do you remember? And this is where it's ironic. You remember how he likes when the Cowboys lose as he comes on there and everything and everything. Well, you know what? Your Knicks are the Cowboys, Stephen A. Knicks are the Cowboys of the NBA. They're a brand, they're popular, and they always come up short. I don't think they come up short this time because all the goddess that the Pistons have to do, they're not always going to be there in 4 games. So, good stuff on your end, but let's see what happens. I know I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I'll tell you what, this is what can help the Pistons too. They steal one on the road early. Guess what they're coming back to? We know what Detroit's like. We know when Detroit's been starving for basketball, right? Just like they were starving for football, just like they were starving for baseball. When you go into LCA, you're going to need your earplugs, okay? Because it's been a long time. Pistons get one on the road. Let's see what can happen. Let's see. So that's all I got. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and that's really good stuff from you, Brad. You know, that's why basketball is so different than other sports and when it comes to the playoffs. Obviously, hockey has a series and baseball has a series, but I guess football is really the only one that doesn't. But that's why basketball is so different, right? Because football is any given Sunday. You come with the right mindset, you beat that team, you move on. Whereas in basketball, the better team's going to win the series most of the time, like probably 8 out of 10 times realistically. So I think we all can kind of agree the Knicks are the better team, but the Pistons do have a chance, right? And like you said before, it comes down to a lot of gottas. Like they got to do this, they got to do that. Um, the thing that I've been thinking about recently a lot, like my big takeaways, I guess, from the game, it's going to be, can we stop Cat? Okay, number one. Number two, if we stop Cat, can we stop the other guys on the perimeter? Because the thing I'm worried about right now is, like we've talked about, we're a little undersized, right, when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns, 7 foot tall. Our tallest guy right now is 6'10" with Jalen Duren. Let's say we're doing a pretty good job on him, though. We got him, let's say Stewart's on him, and every time he backs him down, we get a guy coming over from the corner to help, or whatever the case, a guy popping down from the elbow. That's going to leave somebody open, right? So the thing that worries me is if we stop Cat, there's another step that the Knicks can take. That's all I think really comes into this series is the Knicks just have too much firepower, man. We don't have it. We just don't. Like, if Malik Beasley can come out and average 25, we got a chance. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not willing to bet on that. You know what I mean? So a lot of it will come down to also Cade. Obviously, as we know, I think OG Anunoby is a pretty good matchup for Cade. Just in terms of his length, his strength, his athleticism, his ability, his all of it. He's a great matchup for Cade for the Knicks. Now, Cade did drop 36 the last time he guarded him, so it's not like he's going to shut him down. The OG Anunoby ain't Prime Kawhi. You know what I mean? He's not locking anybody up. However, I do think it could cause some issues. I also think in the playoffs, a lot of teams are going to play it differently. I think they're going to attack Cade defensively. I mean, they're going to do whatever it takes to stop Cade. Period. Who else you got to worry about offensively? I mean, Duren is really the only other guy. Malik Beasley if he gets hot. I mean, Tim Hardaway if he gets hot. But it's like, it's just one of those things that like we've said before, we're playing with house money. thank God we made the playoffs after such a long drought. I'm not counting anybody out, but my prediction is and always has been and will be Knicks in 6. I just don't see it unless, like you said before, the Pistons can somehow grab one of the first 2 games. If they can grab one of those first 2 games in New York, we might have something there. So just something to think about. Pistons fans, come out. Once they're back at home, we gotta fill that fucking stadium up, man. We gotta show these Knicks what we're about. They got a little bit of a taste, just a little crumb, but it wasn't even sold out. It was on a Thursday night, okay? So that wasn't shit compared to what fucking LCA better look like when the Pistons come back for the playoffs. Like, it better be rocking. I better see videos on Twitter like we do at Ford Field where people are like, holy fucking shit, it's loud in here, man. Like, it has to be like that because I'll tell you what, Pistons are going to need every little thing they can fucking get. And if that's the crowd, that's the crowd. I'll tell you what, I personally feel like I made Jalen Brunson miss 2 free throws. I'm just saying. I was at the game. I was literally yelling at him, "You are weak. You're a soft bitch." And he missed both free throws. And I was like, all right, sweet. Works for me. But with that being said, we will move on from the Pistons. We've got the game coming up on Saturday, as we know, but we do have other things to talk about here. If you're watching this, it's because you love sports. If you love sports, why not show that love with some new gear, like the 2 jerseys behind me? Fanatics has a lot of stuff on sale right now, and if you go down in the description, click the link of whatever team that you want, it'll take you to the Fanatics page, buy some stuff, and we get a small portion. It'll help us out, and you'll get some discounts on some good gear. The Lions recently, some rumors going around, Jameson Williams could be on the move. Now, as we talked about before the show started, guys, this is not a legit rumor. This is just a guy who wrote an article that sparked people talking about it, okay? Let's start there. Nothing real has come out of this yet, okay? Now, here's a little bit of a little thing to think about. This same guy tweeted out a article back in the day saying the Lions should trade TJ Hawkinson, and they traded him 2 weeks later. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he knows something. That's just kind of fucking crazy. Like, you made an article saying they should trade him, and no one knew he was being traded, by the way. Like, when that happened, I think I can speak for everyone. You didn't know that was going to happen, and if you say you did, you're fucking lying, because everybody thought TJ Hawkinson was the one guy on that team that we could use for the future. Like, that was legitimately the idea, I think. At least I had that idea, that he was one of the building blocks, and we traded him. Now, does that mean we're going to trade J-Mo? No, just something to think about. The same guy put that article out that's put this one out. However, Lions fans are going to hate to hear this, but it's possible and it's realistic. Okay? I mean, we've had the conversation on this pod many, many, many times now. The Lions do not have money. They don't have capital anymore. They don't. Does it make sense that not this year, not next year, but the year after that, we're going to pay Jameson Williams fucking probably $45 million a year? I don't think so, man. I mean, unless he comes out and has himself an 1,800-yard season like a Jamar Chase or something, there's no fucking way he is worth that money. I'm sorry, but he's just not. Like, especially when your quarterback's Jared Goff, who, again, I might get crucified for this, he's not that great at throwing the deep ball. He's just not. Especially when you got a guy like J-Mo who is a certified burner, okay? So with all these things being said, I would not be that surprised at all if Jameson Williams is traded. Do I think it's going to happen this year? Definitely not. I just don't see that happening. What I think is most likely is the Lions have until May 1st to pick up his option. They will probably do that. Brad Holmes has said they will probably do that, and I think it would make a lot of sense because it's probably going to be like $15 million, something along those lines, whereas you'd probably have to pay him $25-30 per year. The only reason you don't pick that up is maybe you try to get him at a cheaper number than you would a few years from now because the cap keeps going up and that kind of stuff. But I think most likely Jameson Williams gets traded on draft night 2026. That's my prediction. That's what I believe because I just don't see Brad thinking to himself, Yeah, I'm gonna sign a guy who's played one good season to be the third highest paid wide receiver in the NFL when he's not even the number one receiver on our team. Okay, and I know he's fast. I get it. I fucking get it. He is fast, fast as fast can be, buddy. But the NFL is full of fast dudes. It's full of fucking speed guys. Okay, there are fucking. I would let's just say 100. There's probably 100 wide receivers that get drafted every single year. If there's one position that's expendable, it's that one. I'm sorry, it just is. And I know a lot of Lions fans are going to be pissed hearing me say this, but I personally, if I had to choose Kirby Joseph or Jameson Williams, it's Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch, Jameson Williams, it's Brian Branch. Sam Laporta or Jameson Williams, it's fucking Sam Laporta, buddy. I'm sorry, he's better at his position right now. Now, does that mean I hope we trade him and I think we should trade him? No, I hope we keep him. I hope we work something out, but you never know, man. These things are fluid. It's the NFL. Like, if any player is going to be traded, that's one of our young guys. It's going to be JMO. I don't see anybody else, and I also don't see a way that we keep everybody. So, let me ask you this, listeners: would you rather keep Jameson Williams for the next 2 seasons, and he walks in free agency? We get a third-round comp pick back, or would you rather trade him to draft night 2026, get like a second and a fourth or something from, I don't know, Tennessee or New England or some shit like that really needs wide receivers? Go draft another receiver with that second round pick. You get some more defensive help with the fourth round pick, and you save money. Just contemplate that. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. But with that being said, James, I'll pass it over to you. I know you're a huge JMO guy, so I'm kind of excited to hear your thoughts on this.
You shouldn't be. J-Mo is my favorite Lion. Uh, he has a role on this team, on this offense, that no one else can fill on the roster, at least currently. We don't have another deep ball guy. He is one of one, and that's not a pun on him changing his number to one. Although, slight side note with that, one, I would say, for the last 3 years is the number of death for the Lions. Just off the top of my head, and I did not research it, but I'm fairly confident in this. I don't believe we've ever had a player wear number one in consecutive seasons. I know Cortland Sutton was number one, then we got rid of him because of his arrest and whatnot. And then number one became Maurice Alexander, our reserve punting kick return man, who I was a big fan of. He went to Chicago and followed Ben Johnson, and now JMO has it. So the last two guys that had number one all left after their first season in the number one. Doubt there's anything to that, but I have noticed the pattern. On top of that, to what fuels and what I think started the whole rumor is the receiver from Texas. I'm trying to find Matthew Golden. He was in town and had one of his 30 official visits with the Lions, and he would be that guy in the play style that would replace JMO. But in my opinion, for what it's worth, I would rather draft a guard, an edge, a D tackle, depending on if it's I was going to say a certain player, but let's just say Derek Harmon. He's the only D tackle I'm really looking at least at the 28 spot, if he's there. Or Grant, but I don't think he'll be there for the record. But I don't see us getting rid of JMO. I don't see us trading JMO. I see us extending him to a long-term contract. I don't think he'll cost as much as you were saying, though. And I mean, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I see this as somewhat of a Jamar Chase and T. Higgins situation where Higgins just got his new contract, but he's only making, and only is a loose term, but he's only making 25 million a year because he's that wide receiver too, while Chase is making over 40. With St. Brown already making 30, I think you would only have to pay JMO 25, maybe a little higher, like 27 And yeah, that is, I will admit, kind of right at my border of would I or won't I. But if the number is somewhere in the 40s, if he's asking for chase money, unfortunately, you just got to get rid of him. As much as I love him, it is a business. It would kind of remind me of when we got rid of Golden Tate back in the day. I loved Golden Tate, but he wanted a big raise. He was due a big raise, and we didn't have the money. So sucks. It's a shitty situation, but it is what it is. The writing was on the wall, and what happened happened. I would hate to see this become that scenario, but if he is demanding that top end dollar, then it probably is what's going to happen. I can see plenty of teams wanting him. I know you mentioned a lot of people have like game breaking speed, and that's true, but JMO is one of two. The only person I would put in JMO's speed category would be Tariq Hill. And they're just on that other level. Like, don't get me wrong, Gibbs is fast as hell. I think Gibbs has better acceleration, but I think JMO has that top end speed that very few, if anybody, can compete with. I mean, how many end arounds or Hail Marys that he's caught that he's jogging by the 20 because he's already beat his guy so bad. I would hate to lose him, but I trust Brad Holmes. And Brad Holmes, I trust. He has not given me a reason to not. I know Brad Holmes loves the guy. He traded up 20 spots in the first round for him originally. So, I mean, everyone's got their price. One of his first moves when he became the GM of the Lions is trading away their franchise quarterback in Stafford. I mean, if you're going to give me 3 first round picks, which obviously a receiver won't go for that, but if you're going to give me a hell of an offer I can't refuse, I mean, we'll see what happens after that. But I would not be even like calling to see what he can like go for. I would start talking to him, let him know like, hey, if you're interested in that like T Higgins size contract, I would see what we can do to get that done personally.
Yeah, and I totally get that. The one thing I will say is like T Higgins almost makes as much as Amon Ra does right now, so I don't know if I really want to do that necessarily. Like you said, I think 25 million is probably my highest number for JMO. I'm not going any more than that. The one thing I will say is, look, man, I'm gonna get cooked for this. I know it. I don't know. I don't buy the whole Jameson Williams is the fastest guy in the NFL. I just don't. I don't see it. Like, where do you see it? Like, if I'm being real, what play did he look like the fastest player in the NFL? The 70-yard touchdown against Seattle last year, maybe. Like, and even then, it's like he's fast, but I don't know if he's really like I mean, he's definitely top 10, probably top 5, but without the numbers, without being able to, for instance, Jahmyr Gibbs, right, was in the top 10 twice last year for ball carriers in terms of max miles per hour. Jameson Williams was not. If we're talking about speed, I think that's the best way to quantify it. How fast he was running at his fastest. Jahmyr Gibbs was faster last year. I just don't necessarily think that JMO being fast is like enough to make him an elite receiver, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, he's a very fast kid, but how fast we have yet to see, I feel like. And also, like I said before, with Goff being on the team still, sort of knocks that down a notch for me, but that's neither here nor there. But with that being said, Brad, I will pass it over to you. If you got anything to add.
As far as with JMO and the elite speed, he's got elite speed. The Chicago long pass, the end around in the Washington game, the San Francisco game with the hook and ladder. I mean, dude, the guy. I mean, you could go back and watch. That's just off the top of my head. I mean, I could probably think of a lot more, but on the end arounds, it's a wrap. The only end around that really cost him was when some dipshit offensive coordinator thought they were going to put the season in a wide receiver's hands with a glove on his hand to go and throw a fucking pass when the fucking season's on the line. But hey, Ben Johnson's a fucking genius, isn't he? Anyways, he's got elite speed. I'm not going to say first, second, third. He's got elite speed. At top 5, top 10. It's whatever. There's a lot of guys out there that've got elite speed, and he is definitely one of them, though. As far as like we said with Hawkinson and with Gold and Tate, the franchise was in a lot of different positions back then. Okay, they were not in any kind of mode to win. Now they weren't, especially with Golden Tate, but with Hawkinson, no kind of win now. With JMO, you need a win now. If you trade, say you trade him, all right, this year, and you take Golden with the 28th. All right, well, guess what? That pushes everything back down. What I mean by that is it's going to drop your guard. It's going to drop the edge that people want so bad. You're not going to get those guys at 28. You're going to get them now in the second round low. Okay, and those are not exactly game changing guys. Why would you take a wide receiver at 28 because you traded a proven wide receiver? I think they're going to let JMO go after his contract is up. Take the third round pick. That seems to me the most pragmatic. You are guaranteed a third round pick, and you get Jameson Williams for 3 more years. I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign him. They just can't. And Jace, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There is not. I mean, he is he's the odd man out. And he is my favorite player, and he's got the boy-like qualities, the kid-like qualities. He goes to the Tiger games. He's sitting by himself, or he'll have a fan sit next to him. He goes and he hangs out, at the Coney Island and on 6 Mile and Kercheval. Okay, I mean the guy, he loves being here. He's honestly, and for all his own intents and purposes, he's had a rough life. Okay, so he really hangs on, and this city's embraced him. Okay, and he feels like a family member. And when he leaves, it's going to feel like a family member going off to college. Okay, because he is going to leave. All right, but hopefully he leaves in 3 years. And another reason you can't let him go is, guys, is what happens if we know about injuries? What happens if Brown goes down? What happens if Jesus Christ, Patrick, he goes down? Okay, we're not. It's like the guards, and people disagree with me on that one, guys. We're not deep. We're not deep. So, they if they want to take a guard, if they want to trade up into the second round again, all right, and get a receiver, I don't think anybody should be like, holy shit, okay? Because like I said, you're gonna. I mean, who is going to replace one of those 3 guys if they go down? What if 2 go down? Guys, we've seen it all happen last year. So don't be ready for anything, man. Anything. You got to keep JMO. I mean, you have to. And you got to draft. I mean, shit, I just said don't take a receiver 28, but you got that guy from Arizona that drops. I, I don't think Golden is the right fit there. I think Golden would be a guy that they trade up in 2 to get if he drops. Yeah, I would do that. I would do that. I think, in those silly little mocks that I've been sending, I want the Boston College defensive end. If you want to trade down and trade down, realistically, I'd love to get a Landon Jackson and 2 more picks and one in the top 50, another one in the top 100. But they have to go edge first. They have to. I'm sold on that now. You sold me on it. If you told me what we'd have to do, edge, guard, receiver, corner, then another edge. Okay. Ideally, that's mine. All right. So there's one guy, Jason, I want to get your thoughts on this. Tesla, not the car, Tesla from Arkansas. And it's not just because this guy went to Arkansas. So it is a coincidence, but it does make you think it's the Matt Jones kind of thing. All right. I like this Tesla guy. I really do. He's a red zone option. He's a guy that can be over the middle. He can get the 50-50 balls. I like him. And if he's there in the third round, you swoop him up. But, I don't want to ramble on. JMO stays until his time is up. We don't have any depth. He's a guy that can break out. He's breakaway speed. They use him in so many formations. And again, it wasn't just Ben Johnson. It was Dan Campbell. All right. And it's not that I got a hard on because he left or hard on because he's comparing his dickhead right tackle to Penei Sewell. He's overrated. We gassed him up. We all say Dan Campbell. He's got, they all show the South Park with his balls in the wheelbarrow and stuff. That's Dan Campbell. That's Dan Campbell telling Ben Johnson These are the plays that we could come up with. I'll tell you when I want to call them. So don't give me that bullshit that Ben Johnson's some genius. He's not. But with JMO, he's dangerous at any point, anywhere on the field, at any point. He's dangerous. So I don't want to go off too much on that. Damn it, guys. Edge, receiver, and guard. Those are the three biggest needs. I wake up in cold sweat seeing Amon-Ra St. Brown, the same goddamn ambulance that Aiden Hutchinson was in. All right, because then if you really want the season to be fucked, there you go. So with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, and good points there, Brad. I will say the stats side with me. Jameson Williams is not one of the fastest players in the NFL. James, I know you just sent me that where he was the fastest in Week 14, but he is not in the top 20 of the season. His Week 14 was his fastest, and he ran, and I'm going to say only, as if I can do this, he only ran 20 miles an hour, right? The top 20 for the year are all above 21 miles an hour. I know it's a small discrepancy. I'm just saying, if he's fucking elite of the elite, if he's the best of the best, he should be on that fucking list. Period. Like, it's really that simple. Now, that's also ball carrier speed, so things are a little bit different. He might be a little bit faster when he's running his routes and things like that. However, you mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs as not being as fast as him. Jahmyr Gibbs is in the top 10 twice, like I mentioned. Over 22 miles per hour. I'm sorry, he was over 22 miles an hour once, almost 22 the second time. Now, you mentioned Isaac Tesla. I am a fan of his. I am. But I'm glad you brought that up because there was another receiver that I just drafted in my mock draft, in my 32-man live mock with 32 different users, 32 different GMs. It's not just like one of those mock draft simulators or whatever. So I found Dante Thornton Jr. from Tennessee, okay? I do like Tesla, but I like this kid a little more, I think. And here's why, okay? 6'5", 208, 4'3", okay? He's got hands. He is a kick-ass blocker, dude. He can block his ass off, okay? The only thing, not only, but the only thing that's a big red flag about this kid is his route running. That's coachable, I think. That you can fix. I drafted him, and this is the only thing that I'll say about my mock draft. I drafted him in the 4th round, okay? If we can draft that kid in the 4th round this year, I would feel a little bit better about moving on from JMO. Also, it was a good point in the 2nd round. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions do draft a wide receiver a little bit earlier than what we're expecting. Not even just because of JMO, but because we need another one. I mean, realistically, I could see us drafting one. However, this is not the right draft to do it. I don't think this is a very I don't want to say mid because it's not a bad draft. It's just not like the last few years where we're seeing, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round fucking wide receivers play pretty damn well. I don't think we'll see that this year. I think we'll see, a more regular sprinkling of wide receivers that are pretty good throughout the draft, but I just don't see many studs getting drafted like an Amon-Ra in the 4th round. But on the Isaac Tesla front, I wouldn't be mad at him in the 4th round either. I mean, either one of those guys. I just like this kid because he's got that deep speed or that deep threat speed. He could kind of take over JMO's role in a lot of ways. Obviously, he won't be the same ball carrier in terms of rushing as JMO because of, he's a way bigger guy. But I just like that idea. But with that being said, James, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I wanted to add to that is, you asked name a play where JMO's speed really stood out, and I know the vast majority of the Lions fans repressed this game, but the San Francisco 49ers game in the playoffs for the NFC Championship game, I think it was an end around or a screen. He got the ball behind the line of scrimmage and he just fucking took off. And you're not wrong with the top speed, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into it or if my fandom potentially is getting in the way. But as I said before, there's times where he is breaking out on either a deep pass or an end around, yada yada yada, and then he starts jogging from the 20. I almost question if he even got to top speed, or if he knew he was breaking away and he just coasted after that. Um, but once again, like I said, I can't prove that, but the thought crossed my mind. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and I mean that makes sense. The only thing I would say is that they would have tracked the speed, so they would have tracked his top speed. It wouldn't just go to where he started slowing down. So like I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't really think it changes anything. Now, on the play that you talked about, he only ran 18 miles an hour. So just to think about that, it's not even one of his best from the last season, let alone ever. So I know the speed might seem like it's this is the thing, okay? And I don't mean to go on a long tangent about this, but this is a common misconception when it comes to sports in general, right? A lot of people, right? You're ball watchers. You see the ball, where's the ball? That's where the ball goes. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people don't take into account all the things that happened before that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, JMO might have looked super fast on that play, but my guess is the defense got faked out, took a fucking false step. The whole defense took a false step. And I mean, when JMO's that fast, you're not going to catch him. You know what I mean? So I would assume that there was some end around, or not some end around, but there was the end around, and then there was some sort of like action with it that confused the defense, and that's why it seems like he was running super fast, but maybe the defenders were just farther away, whatever the case may be, just to put some context into it. So with that being said, we will move on from the JMO conversation for now, because I'm sure this will come up again at some point. However, some NFL stuff going on, and to kind of go from Lions to the NFL pretty smoothly, Jalen Ramsey. Okay, and I know we brought him up before. What the fuck? Why? Okay, why? Why do we even think to entertain the idea of bringing him onto this team? He's not a culture fit. We ain't got the fucking money, brother. We ain't got the picks, okay? And we just signed like 4 fucking corners in free agency. We drafted 2 last year. If we did this, I would be like, is this motherfucker going to play edge? Because that's the only thing that would make any sense, And I haven't seen too many people talk about bringing him in. It's just one of those things that I've seen it a couple times, and I'm just like, this seems like one of those things where it's like the Myles Garrett situation, except Myles Garrett was actually a need. It's the same, I don't know if you've noticed that, but it seems to be the same people who are, okay, this guy got cut or this guy happened. Let's go get him. Let's go get him. Why not? Why not? Why not? And I know we've talked about it on this podcast many times. At the right price, anyone can be brought in. Totally. Totally. Jalen Ramsey is not the right price, okay? At all. If he gets cut and he'll come over here for $4.5 million on a 1-year deal, sign me the fuck up. But he ain't. That ain't happening, okay? What's most likely is he's going to get traded to like Baltimore or some shit like that, a decent team, Kansas City, who has a little bit of money, who really needs some help on defense. Baltimore, in my opinion, makes the most sense. They had a pretty rough go of it last year on the pass defense front. So I could see that making some sense. They got a little bit of money. They could, I mean, it won't take much to get him, probably a 4th or 5th round pick. And he's a good player, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people are stupid for thinking that we should bring him in. What I am saying is it's just not a realistic option. I mean, if we can't fucking keep Zadarius Smith, we ain't adding Jalen Ramsey. It's really that simple. So, with that being said, James, I'll pass it over to you if you have anything to add.
Not really. I had a back and forth with someone on X today about the potential addition of Ramsey, and you are correct. Money wise, the current contract, zero chance. Like it's not, I border on saying it's almost not even worth the conversation just because of the price. However, as a player, I do think he fits rather well in how we could use him. You would have to play Madden and turn salary cap off, but he would be a true tried and tested number 1 corner. I think who would help Terry Arnold stay at the number 2 spot, let him adjust and while he's not covering uh, Justin Jefferson and those kind of guys. Not saying he's incapable, but that's just a lot to ask of a year two guy. And I can just kind of see why people would look at the roster and see why we can plug and play him there. But as you said, with the money, it doesn't make absolutely no sense. We would have to cut probably two starters just to afford them, and then we have even more holes even after that. So, yeah, long story short, not happening.
Yeah, and that's exactly, exactly like you said. I also think a lot of people just see the name and forget how old he is and that he's not Jalen Ramsey on the Jaguars anymore. He is not even Jalen Ramsey on the Rams anymore. He is Jalen Ramsey that really should move to safety. I think he'd be best at safety. His instincts, his intangibles. I always felt like he could have played safety coming out as a corner anyway. So I think he might be better off switching positions. But with that being said, Brad, you got anything to add?
Yeah. Well, first question I got is Miami. I mean, they to me at least, they got to be in full rebuild mode. I mean, first they lose their left tackle. All right, now they're talking Tyreek Hill. Could possibly be gone. Ramsey out. I'd like to know what kind of game plan Miami's got. I think they're kind of in limbo right now and almost in purgatory. So, I mean, you got Tua up in the air, which you never know. I mean, we always say one good hit and a melon squashed. Well, his melon's been squashed a few times. Um, that's the first thing comes to mind. What are you doing, Miami? Second thing is you're right. The age factor is definitely there. It's and then on Twitter you see guys get released or guys that are all of a sudden on the trade block through the Adam Schefter stuff, and then you see the little memes or the little gifs or our Lions fans gotta have some. We gotta have. Oh, we gotta have. Oh, gotta have. And you see the little Squidward down there, with the red like hell going. Look at that, Brad. Look at that. Shut the fuck up. All right. I mean, it's like if fucking I don't even know if Stephen Jones got fired, first thing Lions fans would be, oh, we got to bring him over here. Oh, we got to bring him over here. It's just like, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. They're like those little Latino boys selling the chiclets when you go on vacation down in Cabo. All right, just stop annoying people. So, but no, he, of course, first thing you hear the ear ring, oh, Jalen Ramsey. Then you really, for those of us who are sane, and I'm not sure I am anymore, but for those of us that are sane, it's do some homework behind it. This was Jalen Ramsey 3-4 years ago. Yeah, there's some capital that needs to be spent. And he needs to be over here. So we we've got to choose wisely. I think you're gonna see after this draft, you're gonna see I've said it before. You're gonna see where the draft is. We could have a Zadarius Smith back here. Hell, we could have a Von Miller back here or over here. I think we're going to see, there's going to be some moves by Brad here after the draft. And I think there's going to be some moves here after June 1st cuts. Or they make the cuts, and I know sometimes that's procedural, but they also make cuts at June 1st and also in training camp. Let's remember the cuts come down at training camp. So he's not done. He's got a little, you got to do a little spackling here, a little spackling there. I see a semi big move coming after the draft if he didn't get what he wanted, shopping the draft. So that's all I got.
Yeah, and good points there from you, Brad. Um, with that being said, our last point of the day is the NFL draft as a whole. Okay, so we're a little over 2 weeks away. Basically 2 weeks. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like this time it's like hit me like a train. Like I am like, wait, what? It's halfway through April already, and the draft is almost here. What? So the draft right now, as we talked about last week, it's still up in the air in general. Like it does sound like Cam Ward's going to go number one, but after that, who knows what's going to happen? Like anything could happen. Right now, it sounds like Shadeur Sanders might not even get picked in the top 20. He might slide all the way to 21 to Mike Tomlin. I think that makes a lot of sense. However, I don't know if I see that happening. I do still think Shadeur does not make it past 9 to the Saints. I don't think even if he makes it past 9, I don't know if he makes it all the way down to 21. I just don't see a draft where a quarterback goes number one and then the next quarterback doesn't go until the 20s. I just don't see that. I know we've probably seen it before at some point throughout history, but it's just not that often. It's not a normal thing, especially when coming into draft talks. Shadeur and Cam were neck and neck. It sounded like most people thought it was pretty close for who was going to be the number one pick. And now that we know Cam's going to be it, it's like people are throwing Shadeur to the side. So I think it's just rumors. It's just fire. There's no or smoke. There's no real fire here. I think somebody just lit some incense to try to make their team smell a little better, if you know what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, it's just rumors, and I think that's all it is, really. I think it's just people trying to have something to talk about. So, with that being said, James, do you have anything to add?
Um, I'm just curious on where he will go because I had a interesting back and forth on X today over him. I personally see him as a third round talent. That being said, I don't think he's going to be drafted in the third round. There's some confusion online about that. People reach, especially for quarterbacks, all the time, not play style wise, but in terms of hype and the week of the draft, he reminds me very, very much of Will Levis and Malik Willis, where these guys, people were saying that Malik Willis might go number two to the Lions, and he ended up going in the third round. People said Will Levis was a top five lock the week before the draft, and then he went, I believe, the first pick of round two. And then I just quickly looked up the 2022 draft, and oddly enough, it was picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback taken that year at pick 20 overall. There were zero quarterbacks in the first 19 picks. And as you said, Cam Ward's pretty much a lock by every single report, but I'm not even too big on him personally. So someone will take him. Where, obviously, who knows, but I think he's the type of player, and I mean, if he shuts me up, he shuts me up. But I think he's the type of player that some GM is going to draft, and then it's not going to work out, and this is the reason, and this is going to be the pick that gets that GM fired. I see this as being Tim Tebow, as being Johnny Manziel, first round quarterbacks with a lot of hype, but they're just not that good. That's just my 2 cents on it. I mean, to be fair, and I will even just throw myself under the bus, I had this same esque prediction with Jaden Daniels last year. I was not a Jaden Daniels fan. I did not like what I see on the tape. I did not think it was going to translate to the NFL. Rookie season, he not only shut me the hell up, but he eliminates my team from the playoffs. I admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong, Jaden Daniels. So maybe Sanders would do the same thing to me. Maybe he won't, but we'll find out relatively soon.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the Will Levis and Malik Willis because that was exactly my train of thought as well. I just feel, kind of like you said, he's. I don't necessarily think he's a third round talent, but I do think he's more of a second round guy. Like, he's a guy I would take if I really desperately needed a quarterback late round one. But if I was a team like Cleveland or something, I would really look to take him round two. Uh, I just don't see him as a franchise guy. But with that being said, Brad, I'll pass it over to you if you have anything to add.
Sure. First of all, guys, you need to correct this. It is not Shadeur Sanders. It is Colorado Football Hall of Famer Shadeur Sanders. Okay? I mean, come on. How does he, dude, he's a lot to make the Hall of Fame, right? He went 13 and 12 in his 2 years there. He didn't win a championship in his 2 years there. Okay? He got his ass handed to him in the bowl game this year. But hey, that is Hall of Fame worthy. Okay. I mean, Colorado didn't have Cordell Stewart or Sal Younes or Charles Johnson, who won a national championship. Their names aren't up there, but you know what? Shadeur Sanders is up there. Yeah. All right. And then you got Prime out here saying, oh, I didn't have anything to do with it. Fuck you. All right. Do you think we're a bunch of fucking idiots, you fucking jackass? Okay? You goddamn fucking jackass ball-faced liar. This is the biggest crock and farce I've ever heard, that dude is going into the motherfucking Colorado Football Hall of Fame. All right? It's bullshit. Okay? And I'm tired of him getting his, ooh, yeah, look at that. 13 and 12, motherfuckers. Okay? This kid is the most overhyped motherfucker on the fucking planet. And I'm tired of him. I'm tired of his cheesy ass grin. I'm tired of his fucking bravado. I'm tired of his cockiness. I'm tired of him being smug. You have no running skills. Okay? You cannot run. All right? Your deep ball is okay. It's not something great. Okay? Your accuracy is good. All right? Congratulations. Now, having said that, do I think he's going to go to New Orleans? I do. Let me preface this, though. You better have a strong ass fucking front office if you're going to take this fucking sideshow clown. All right? Because all it's going to come with it is prime. 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 I ain't hard to find prime. All right? Because the first time that the fucking fans get on him wherever he goes, or the first time, Prime's going to be tweeting. You fucking know it. Okay? So you're getting a whole circus with Shadeur. All right, so he's going to be hit or he's going to be missed. There is going to be no middle. Okay? And if he misses, I will have front row seats there to watch the fucking shellacking that fucking overhyped, cocky bastard is going to get. All right? I don't like him. I don't like him. I've never liked him, and I never will like him. Having said that, I do see 3 teams actually trading up to get him. All right, 3 teams, and you'd be like, and I have not been drinking yet. I promise. I see Seattle perhaps trading up to get him. This one might throw you for a loop. I see the Rams perhaps trading up to get him. Okay, and finally, I could see the 49ers taking him. Okay, why haven't you pulled the trigger on Brock Purdy yet, boys? What are you waiting for? My thing is with Purdy, and I don't want to go, but it does have to do with Sanders, is what I don't understand is what are you waiting for? You ain't got salary cap to clear. You know you got to sign him to the extension this year. So obviously you don't want to really, you ain't 100% sold on this dude. You're just not. I don't know what the guy's done wrong not to be sold on him, but he's the system quarterback and they got to have the pegs around him. But I could see those 3 teams trading up to get the most hyped, overrated hyped, you know, Colorado Football Hall of Famer, 13 and 12. Trade up to get him, though, but I could see teams trading up to get him. I really could. But boy, you better be ready for that fucking circus because Prime is coming to town. So back to you guys.
Yeah, and I don't think I'd go that far, but I will say there are some things that he's done that make me question his character a little bit, and it's less like, do I think he's exactly? Do I think he's a bad guy? No, I don't think he's a bad person. Like, I don't think he's gonna beat his girlfriend or fucking get in a car accident drunk driving or whatever. I just feel he's a little too encapsulated within himself and within his image and within the life he lives, right? Like, you guys might disagree, but I think you'll agree. He reminds me of like a reality TV show guy. Like, it's just like the camera's always fucking on him. He's just living his life behind, you know what I'm saying? He's just, oh, I'm the guy. I'm the cool guy. I'm the big guy on campus and all this shit. Like, there was that video that came out of him and Cam Ward working out together, right? And I kind of got this vibe that Cam Ward was just like, bro, what the fuck? Like, he's just like, what the fuck is up with this guy, man? He is not bought in. Like, it just seemed like he was getting annoyed, when he kept pulling his phone out or whatever the case may be. So I just think Shadeur's got he's got some immaturity to work on, obviously. But I also think, as you said before, I mean, Deion Sanders is his father, so I don't think that helps much. And Deion Sanders, look, we all love him, right? He was a great corner, okay? You can't teach your quarterback's son to have a cornerback's ego. Doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And I know he wants his sons to be prime time and, the king shit or whatever, but that will be detrimental at the position he plays right now. Whereas Deion, being who he was, being brash, loud, fucking whatever, who cares, it worked perfect. I mean, that's what you want out of that position. You know what I mean? So just something to think about. But with that being said, that is all that we have today. As always, you can follow us at MI Sports Media on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us Michigan Sports Media on Facebook, misportsmedia.com, and you can find James Gullett, our Red Wings reporter, at Gullett_James, and Brad Thompson, our Tigers reporter, at BT8Ball. And you can find me at JSoSweet. And as always, don't forget about the giveaway. The tickets will be given out on Monday, and I appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.